Taking a look here, we did get 15 servitors. There's 0 corruption right now, which not really a big deal. And then, other than that, we did get some XP on all of our guys. Looks like Iolanthus did get a lot of XP, very, very close to actually to getting to level 3, which is a good deal. But aside from that, we do have some servitors. We do have plasma reactor repairs going. And then let's go ahead and take a look at what we have in the ship status here. So everything's pretty much borked right now. It's not really a concern. That is how we start every campaign. 6 days till the repair of the plasma reactor. After that, we do have 12 days for the augmentation chambers. If we want to do that, that's fine. As well, we have 0 on the Void Shield, gun batteries, Exterminatus, and the mechanical bay. The Augurium still requires 4 servitors and 9 days. And the Apothecarium, meditation chamber, and barracks all start at level 0. So we are essentially given a ship that is at the bare minimum. Essentially nothing more than a housing spot for Grey Knights, which are, you know, kind of as we expect. But so I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to skip most of this conversation. So this is going to be more of a, I don't know, it's going to be more of a gameplay focused playthrough. We will be listening to the cutscenes, but we won't necessarily be talking to everyone in between. If you guys do want me to talk to everyone in between, or to have those conversations with, you know, either Ektar or Lynette or what's her name? I can't even remember her name right now. To Vakir, please let me know in the comments below. I will absolutely change that around. That's not really a big deal. There is a lot of lore to be learned here, and I think, if I'm recalling correctly, this may actually be canon. So this is a phenomenal opportunity to do a bunch of things. So starting here with the research, we will be looking at the Poxwalker excuse me the Poxwalker necropsy. I almost said Poxwalker necrosis, which is kind of redundant, but we will be looking at the Poxwalker necropsy. It takes 30 days here, so we do have a little bit to wait here. If we look at the barracks here, we do have several individuals. So we have 6 in total: Kadan, Rugen, Aegir Harn, Derek Thule, Ulrich Iolanthus, Mithrak Bors, and Voldred Storm. Of those 4, a few of them have come into battle with us. We have not used Kadan, Rugen, and Mithrak Bors just yet, but they are available for us. These birth available slots are other instances of Grey Knights that we can bring on to our team. We will be looking into that in a later form of the campaign. So we do need barracks 1, 2, and 3 to get some additional slots, and we may need them as the Ruthless campaign can get kind of damaging to our units. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and go back to the star map here, and we will be advancing time.
Dominus has restored the star map to its full function. We are receiving a barrage of scanning data and astropathic scrapings from across the sector. This plague appears to have already spread its tendrils far and wide. We are faced with reports of 2 infected systems. We should monitor this infestation carefully and judge where best to direct our forces while the Inquisitor pursues her answers. Failure will cost many souls.
All right, and just like that, the ship project is complete. Our plasma reactor is back online. So we're going to go ahead and start a new project here. There's a few options. We could do the barracks, we could do the Augurium, but we will be doing the augmentation chamber. This is a very small, 2 servitors, 12 days. We do have 17 in total, so we're going to be starting that. That's kind of the natural progression there. And then once we're done with that, we will be looking into the Augurium. Prognosticar is quite valuable. And, at some point in the future, maybe we will be getting the barracks here. Other than that, let's go to the let's see, not the star map, excuse me, sorry. So we have noticed that there are 2 systems that are infected. Both are about 2 jumps away. So if we go here versus here, it doesn't really make a difference. Let's take a look here, though. 5 slots in total. I don't remember what those are all for. So we're going to go up to the north because I like the north. Why not? Any of these early game missions are going to be, you know, somewhat easy. They're not really going to be too difficult and won't tax us too much. And especially early on in terms of the, you know, the pox or the you know, the contagion. Again, not really very difficult. All we have is the green contagion. And, you know, I'm not really an expert in this area either. I've only gotten to the point where, you know, we have been introduced to the different colors of the bloom. So all of this is going to be relatively new to me at a certain point, but for right now, we're just going to be continuing our journey here. If we take a look at who we have, see, so one of the things that we want to do is we want to make sure that we have some sort of an A team. This is something that, at least in XCOM, has been very, very beneficial to me, and it doesn't really matter who's in our A team, at least from the perspective of this game. It's much less random. You basically are given certain knights that have certain abilities, and then you can equip them with different skills as well as change their abilities as such. As a result, I'm really okay with what we got right now. We'll be adding things in from the execution force as we need them, but other than that, it's going to be a good deal. So,
Commander, our prognosticators have detected this bloom in 3 separate systems. We should examine what I have identified this planet as a mission location to combat the bloom. Let us examine further.
all right. So, pardon the skip here, but we have identified our very first mission set here. Unfortunately, it is making us go all the way to the wrong area. We do have an area right next to us, but they won't let us do it. So,
from here you can see some details.
This is, of course,
mission,
just part of the tutorial.
Titan's armory will make available to us if we are successful.
All right, and now we are finally able to go to our correct area here. All right, the augmentation chamber is now available. Take a look at what we can do next. I think that will be bringing the Augurium back online. There are a few things that the Augurium is very, very beneficial for, but we will address that when we get there. So, getting back to this area, we now have another option, or at least another mission to complete here. And by, you know, completing this mission, we are potentially losing out on the rewards of another mission, which is okay. It is unfortunately just a game of, you know, choosing what is most valuable to us. So, this one is a low danger level, has 2 levels of enemy reinforcements, and very, very minimal, you know, corruption level of 0, warp surge of 15% per turn. The pox has very, very little, and then an unknown minion of chaos, which is, you know, not very concerning right now. So for right now, given the fact that we haven't, you know, don't have any injuries, we'll just go ahead and continue with our current set of Justicar, Purgator, Interceptor, and Apothecary. So let's get going.
Psychic disturbances here echo those I encountered on Coromar.
The hive cities are abandoned, but there is life below. Brothers, seek out any corruption and purge it.
All right. So here we are on our second mission, the first non-tutorial mission, as I would call it. Let's take a look at where we are and what we potentially need to do. So, first and foremost, we just need to kill all the enemies. Of those, I mean, there's really only a couple spots that we can go. So, the first is forward, assuming there aren't any enemies here. I'm assuming there will be enemies here, and then once we do that, we'll have to break through the door, go through and down here in order to cleanse the rest of the enemies. But as we saw, there's really not that much to worry about. There's only 2 reinforcements, or at least 2 units of reinforcements. So let's go ahead and move forward here.
Moving now. Steady and surely we hunt them.
All right, and it does look like our first set of enemy reinforcements is going to be fairly far away. We're going to take a risk here by moving our Justicar up even closer, and it looks like we did not engage any enemy reinforcements, or at least enemy patrols here. So I think that in much the same way, we're going to move up our Purgator into this heavy cover, and then lastly, we'll move our Apothecary in the same way. I think we will end up moving Justicar here, Iolanthus, forward. Not concerned about being detected, and even if we do get detected, it's not like they can really access us right now. So
The Emperor lights our I am here to serve.
let's take the Purgator, and that will expose the enemies. So we do see 5 Nurgle cultists here. It's not great, but it's really not the worst thing in the world. So he does start off by launching an Overwatch here.
Made contact with the enemy. What is
This
your
might
will?
actually be
My
a
blade
good
is
opportunity
ever
for us to use the teleport skill. Let's see. Now, perhaps not.
Yes, Commander.
So let's go ahead and start with the Justicar here. So by moving in this direction, you can see the line turns red. That means that they will be in range of that Overwatch and will actually take some damage. Not ideal in this case.
At your service.
Instead, I think what we're going to do is we are going to be... Can we get all of them? Oh, we can. Let's go ahead and toss this grenade. We may take some damage there. It is okay. That is unfortunately just a side effect of my bad decision making there. But other than that, we not only destroyed a fair bit of cover from them, we also are putting a lot of them in the open here. So let's say we want to, toss a statue at them, for example. That is something that can absolutely be done. Now, in the meantime, what we'll do is with Thule, since we have the opportunity, we will be doing our ranged attack. That does an instant 5 damage to him. He's still in heavy cover, so that protects him from any kickback from enemy units. And let's see, he can also, he doesn't have any grenades, unfortunately, but does have the ability to destroy this. So let's go ahead and do that. That will kill 2 of the enemy units and leave the other on very, very low health. And just like that, we're down to 3 enemy units, 2 of whom are badly injured. How do we want to play this then? I feel like moving... So if we move here, they would be able to attack the enemy units over there, which is okay. It's not the best play, I think. But it's not necessarily something that I'm opposed to. So alternatively, what we could do is we could teleport. This is going to be relatively simple. Takes 1 WP. And let's say we want to take that. We can also set them on fire by doing that. We could alternatively just kill this guy and call it good. Given that we actually have 2 AP, I think we're going to do both. So this does prevent them from taking their Aegis Shield ability, but I think it's going to be okay. And for reference, the Aegis Shield ability is essentially just a free 3 armor for the Justicar, as well as 2 armor for most other units, we'll just say. And it really allows you to, tank a little bit more damage, especially once you get some of the more difficult, missions. You may need to take use of that. And then once you take the Terminator armor, that, of course, does become much, much more powerful. So, in the meantime, though, we will be moving over here. This will give us full cover, and if they choose to attack, it's going to be a little bit dangerous for our Justicar, but I don't think there's going to be anything that difficult for them.
No devil shall elude my gaze.
It looks like suppressive fire. That is okay. I'm always okay with the suppressive fire because that gives us the opportunity to use some of our other units without too much issue. And in that case, they do take too much damage to actually do anything. So the only person that's taking any damage is our Justicar, which is not great, but you know I'm really okay with that because it was you know, relatively a clean way to dispatch of those 5 Poxwalkers. Alright, next up we're going to be setting up on this door, and then on the next turn we will be taking that door without any issue whatsoever. So one of the things that's really, really nice about this is that the AI is, you know, it's fairly predictable, which is always a good thing. But, you know, there's always a lot to, you know, consider when we work in spaces of the AI, and especially unknown in terms of what we don't see right now. So we don't see actually any of the enemy right now. So I'm assuming they're going to be over in this direction. So that gives us the opportunity to move all of our units in relative safety, I would hope. As I move in here. Yep. So we do have very, very, you know, safe units right now. And let's see, they have to be, so they have to be right down here in order for us not to see them yet. Maybe if we move a little bit forward, we'll be able to see where that patrol is. All right, so let's go ahead and get moving here. Just slowly, and we will allow them to go ahead and move closer to us. We'll just try and keep these guys a little bit far away. That keeps us. Not really going to be beneficial or harming to put us in an Aegis shield, but. Alright, so a quick look. We see a bunch of Poxwalkers as well as a few Nurgle cultists. Not really that difficult to deal with. Of course, everything is, you know, fairly early. And as a result, it doesn't really affect much of us. So, let's go ahead and take a look. How far can we toss the grenade? So, let's toss the grenade here. Or from here, excuse me. That'll do a lot of damage overall. Alright, and then taking a look at what we have here. We have the ability to take down 2 of them very easily. You know, I think alternatively, where could we go? If we move here, we could toss a second grenade. Alternatively, if we, for example, teleported, we could teleport here and toss a second grenade, which would deal damage to all 4 of them. And I think that actually might not be a bad idea. Realistically, the people we need to worry about are this guy. This guy. Well, actually, all of the Nurgle cultists. But I would say probably these 4 are the ones we actually need to worry about for right now. It's not really a big deal, though, otherwise. So, for example, this guy could probably kill these 2. We'll do that, actually. That'll get rid of one of our units' covers, and I'm not really a fan of that, but at the same time, it does give us the opportunity to do this. So we'll toss a grenade here. We are putting our knights in a bit of danger. But at the same time, despite the fact that they're in a little bit of danger, we also have the ability to do a lot of damage out on the flip. So let's move our interceptor up here, toss a second grenade. And this is really just about using our resources to the fullest. So at this point, we have all of the Nurgle cultists taken care of, and the only thing that we have left to worry about is our Poxwalkers here. So I think what we're going to do then is we will be putting an overwatch on our knights, and then that should hopefully, yeah, so we'll still be taking a hit, but it's not going to be the worst hit in the world 2 damage, I think, is going to be the total on that one. Oh, does this guy also have the ability to do a hit? No, he does not. All right. So in this case, we'll go ahead and give our Apothecary the ability to get that XP. He did, of course, take that shot for us.
All enemies have been cleansed.
And very, very quickly,
Good work.
we have the end of the second mission. Very proud of the knights here, bringing in a grimoire, killing all the enemies. Very, very little damage. Looks like, all in all, no long-term damage received on either case. We do have promotions available for 3 of our units, so let's go ahead and go through those. So, Derek Thule, the Purgator. Let's see. So we could take the Emperor's Light, which is a blast over Area 3 at range 10. Afflicts blinded, purge, and ignores cover. So this is extremely support focused. That also gives them the opportunity to get additional blind, additional area, and then also gives them the ability to purge, where a target loses all their mutations. So that can be particularly important. Alternatively, if we want to look at Kill Zone, for example, or Astral Aim, there are some interesting things there. I think for Derek, we're just going to be focusing on the ranged weapon discipline for right now. So this is going to be, the first one allows us to, improve our ranged attack by 2, or ranged crit by 2. And then I think the other thing that we're going to be looking at is whether or not we want to go to the silencer or whether or not we want to go to psychic onslaught. I think in this case we're going to want to go with a silencer. I had good luck with that in the past, and I have no other reason to say. But we're going to be going towards that. Next up, we have our Interceptor, who hasn't necessarily used their intercept ability too terribly much, but I still very, very much like it. So we do have the Teleport Strike discipline, which I think we're going to be pursuing with Voldred here. So starting by giving them the swap allies position. This has been very beneficial in the past. Essentially, it allows you to change position with a knight from any other position. So let's say you put your Purgator in a position to do some AoE damage but leave them vulnerable. It's going to be able to allow you to swap those places, and then from there make it just a little bit less dangerous. So the next one is Teleport Strike, and this is a very powerful ability. So you can select any number of targets and a valid destination, and you deal 4 damage to all targets within range 10. So this is going to be great. We'll pick that up. And then last but not least, let's look at our Apothecary. So our Apothecary has a few different options here. The first one is going to be Scourging, which is giving bleeding to opponents. And the second one is going to be providing what is essentially a haste ability to our friendlies. So I think what we're going to be starting with is Scourging. Scourging might be very, very beneficial for some of these early missions where we have a lot of Poxwalkers and a lot of Nurgle cultists. And I think it's going to be super, super beneficial. So we have 2 options here, which is gain 1 area and gain 1 area. And then the last option is going to be increasing that bleed affliction by 1. Alternatively, though, we can gain 2 WP here from some of the core disciplines. And I think that is actually what we're going to be doing here, rather than going into the warp speed discipline. So Aegir Harn is going to be much more of an aggressive Apothecary rather than a support Apothecary. So quite a few different ways that we can build that, but that's going to be it for now.